In this video, I'm going to show you how I made a simple wood arc backdrop for any type of event with some hand-cut script lettering using a scroll saw. Let's get into it. I think I'm going to give it a go of just making a jig for making the circle or the arc. That way I can reuse it if ever need be. And I'll get a nice clean cut with the jigsaw. So let's make a quick jig. Okay, I think the way that I'm gonna go about tackling this backdrop arch is cutting down the 4x8 sheet so it's a little bit more manageable. And I'm thinking about 3.5 feet wide by 7 feet tall. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut some of that width off first, and then I'll cut the length. I'll use the excess for the base, and we'll use the new jig that I just made to cut the arch. So let's get to it. Now it's time to assess the base because that's the most important part, making sure that it sits upright and doesn't fall over. So let's get to the base. I'm gonna use this excess piece that I cut off from the top for the base. I'm gonna give it a little bit more weight by framing it in with some 2x4. That'll hopefully make it a little heavier. And then I'm gonna make some slots at a 45-degree angle to connect it. Let's get to it. Oh, the parrot just went by. Okay, so this is my thought process on the stand. I've made a bulky base out of the 2x4s and the excess cut piece of wood. I picked up some L brackets that are heavy duty. I'm gonna mount those to the base, and then I'm gonna add these 2 pieces of 2x4s to the back piece of the arc. That way I have something to drill into, as well as I can disassemble it from the backdrop itself, making it easier for transport. Okay, now that I have my backdrop and the base figured out, it's time to work on the lettering. I'm gonna use my overhead projector to project out the lettering so I know it's to size, and then I'll trace it out on a board, use that as my template to cut it out on my scroll saw. I moved the design around while sketching it out, that way I had the least amount of waste of wood. Now that it's all sketched out, let's cut it out. All right, now that I have my pieces cut down to a more manageable size, we're gonna cut them out in the scroll saw. I've drilled little pilot holes for these little sections, so we'll start by cutting those out first, and then we'll cut the rest out, sand them, paint them, and we'll be moving right along. I know I could have gone the route of using my CNC to cut out the lettering, but I chose to use the scroll saw because I figured it was one of the easiest tools on hand. Okay, now that we have all the letters cut out, now let's sand them. I don't have any spray primer on hand, but I have some white spray paint which will work just as good. So let's go ahead and give this a nice coat, then we'll paint it with actual color. Okay, now that they're primed white, let's give them a coat of paint. Now it's time to give the arch a coat of primer, and then we'll paint it. Okay, so the weather's starting to get a little questionable and I still need to finish this project up. So I'm gonna put this on the counter in the kitchen and paint the back arch, and then we'll attach the letters. So let's get to painting this arch. Okay, now that the letters are painted and dried, and the backdrop is painted and dried, it's time to mount the letters. I'm gonna use some 3M double-sided mounting tape, and I'm gonna break out the projector again so that I know right exactly where to place the letters. Let's get to it. Well, there it is. A simple wood arch backdrop with script lettering to go on top that can be used for any type of event. I did make it so that the bride-to-be can switch it out and use it for her bridal shower as well as the wedding. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you found it useful, and until next time, friends.
Oh! You okay there?
Yep. Yep.
Let's get to painting this arch. Where you going with it? Need help?
Maybe. I don't know what I was thinking here, how I was thinking this was going to be a smooth. I was thinking arch this way, but...
You're just going to set it on the thing?
Yeah.
Can you lift it by yourself or you need help?
I should be able to lift it by myself. I just was banging into stuff while I was doing it.
Like a bull in a china shop.
In my life. Over the chair.
Okay.
Then.
Good. Good. A little bit more of that one. Okay.
Cool. Okay. Let's get to painting.